All right. And good day. And welcome to today's edition of A Course in Miracles. Let me correct myself again. Take two. Good day, everyone, and welcome to today's session with Truly Foundation, which is right there on my screen, and A Course in Miracles. Hi, my name is Oliver Blue, and I will be your host today, your guide, your coach, and it gives me great pleasure to be here with you for this lesson for today. And today we're going to go down a little different side road here as we have entered into the next 10 workbook lessons. Each one of these sections now have they all are given a theme, not given a theme, but we're given a theme in each one of these sections. And today we're on page 425, and as you can see, this starts out this section with a little dissertation on what is the body. What is the body? How interesting of a subject can that be? And but this is going to be from the Course in Miracles point of view, based on its theoretical idea, which has its basis in, we said, three fundamental statements. And they go like this. I'll remind us. It says that the whole course can be concluded in these three fundamental statements. Number one, that which is real cannot be threatened. That which is real cannot be threatened. Statement number two, that which is not real, or that which is unreal, it does not exist in reality. I'll put it to you that way. And number three, therein, these two statements, within these two statements, that's what therein means. Therein, between the two previous statements, lies the peace of God. Let's think about that for a minute. Nothing real can be threatened. Aligns with what we've been sharing all these 300, 200 plus days. That there's only reality. We've said there's only God. God is, and there's nothing else. We're saying that love is all there is. We've said it in so many different ways. And that is reality. Reality is defined as that which is knowledge, that which is the truth, which is of the one law, which is the law of love, or the law of God. We've said that reality has to do with that which is unalterable, meaning it cannot be changed. It's changeless. We said that that which is real is eternal. Meaning what? No beginning and no end. It's unambiguous. It's not multiple choices. It's just the one reality. It can be unrecognized. Reality can be unrecognized, but it cannot be changed. Let's make that perfectly clear. We said that reality is everything that God created in his creative process. It's everything that God created. We said that reality is only God, is that which only God and only love that creates reality. Okay. We also say reality is beyond what can be learned. It is beyond learning. We said it is beyond time and space. So that means that reality is beyond or before the world was, before the foundation of this planetary world. We said that reality has no opposites. There are no opposites in reality. There are no opposites in love. There's no opposites in God. Or there is no opposition. There are no enemies in reality. God has no enemies. God has no opposition. There are no opposites. Then we said that it has no beginning and it has no end. You can't find where reality began. You certainly can't find where it ends. And then we concluded all of those criteria by saying reality merely is. It is what it is. So when the first statement says that which is real cannot be threatened, we gave you the criteria there. None of that, that's the criteria for reality, and none of that can be threatened. Then the second statement said that which is unreal does not exist. And we know that that which is unreal is that which God did not create, but that an idea that is that was entertained, that is not in alignment with the oneness of God. In and of itself, went into a space of fantasy or vain imaginings. Oh, of course, it's dreamlike, and had this experience of separation. What is it to be outside of God? What is outside of God? Where it says there's nothing's outside of God. So it had to be a vain imagining or dream or hallucination. And what it's saying here is that what God created entertained the idea and fell into a state of sleep and dreamed up all these things that are in opposition. But you already see that in reality, there's no opposition. In other words, there's nothing that can be done to oppose reality. It's an experience that one can have in the mind, but not in reality. And we said that experience that seems to happen in unreality is made up by a belief in separation. And so it creates what we call a perceptual state or a perceptual world, a world of time and space. And it kind of describes, the experience we're having here on this horizontal plane. And it describes unreality as a world of perception, a world of time and space, a beginning and endings, a world of comings and goings. We know here it's stuff of coming and going all the time, right? It makes its basis for its existence is based on, or the base of its existence is based on interpretation and not on facts. It's a world of birth and death. It's founded on the belief in scarcity, loss, separation, and death. Sound like what we experience here, right? It says it's learned rather than it's learned, right? It's learned rather than revealed. It's selective in its emphasis. It's unstable in its functioning, and it's inaccurate in its interpretation, which sounds like the experience we have on this horizontal plane. And so when we embrace the reality that which is real cannot be changed or altered or threatened, and that which is unreal really doesn't exist. It only exists in a mind that believes that it's separate from its creator. It says therein, when we embrace that reality, when we embrace those are the foundation for our knowing and believing. One is a fact and the other one is not. It says, therein lies the peace. Therein lies our experience of the peace of God when we accept the reality that that which is real cannot be threatened. That which God created can't be changed and altered. That's why you've heard us say, that which God created is you and me. That which God created is his very own self, and he called it the I am. And now we're somewhat experiencing that as a unique expression. And what is required to be here on this plane, which is a body. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. What is the body? Notice now it said what is the body? Or it didn't say what is a body. It didn't say what is your body. It says what is the body, as though there's only one body. Okay. So we're going to get into this today, and let's just see where it goes. One thing is for sure, that if you're listening to me in the way that I'm on the same dimension that I am communicating, that means that you are aware of a body that you are associated with. And we've already said in the past that we are not a body. We're free. We remain as God created us, as timeless and formless being. That means at the essence of who we are, our very nature, we are not by identification. It's not who we are. We're not bodies or a body. But we are the essence of what God is. God is eternal. God is infinite. God is what? Impersonal. God is not a person. He's impersonal. And God is self-aware. And so are we. We are infinite, impersonal, and self-aware, though it appears that we are personal, with a personal body, with a personal history, with an individual separated body, separate from God and from everything else. And that we live in a world where everything is separate from each other. Nothing seems to be joined. In other words, this perceptual world does not communicate to us that oneness is the only thing. It communicates to us that there's many things. And so that is part of the experience of separation. So let's see what it says. Well, we know by definition, earthly definition, that the body is referred to our physical structure, all of it, all of our physical structure, everything that can be looked upon, held, examined, all of it, all of the structure, nothing is excluded. So the body includes all of the parts and all of the materials from head to toe. It's the structural part of our personhood, but we're not. So what it says here is that there is more to us than the structural part. Even the Bible says that we're not to look at the things that are seen, the structural part, but the things that are not seen. Why? Because the things that are seen are temporary, decaying, subject to change. But the things that are not seen, which could be our reality, is eternal. See? So it is our reality. It is our reality. And so let's see what it says. Let's take this ride together. So, what is the body? The body is a fence that we, as God's creation, as the Son of God, or what we may say the Son of Man, the body is the fence that the Son of God imagines. The body is the fence that which God created imagines he has built. So here, right off the bat, in the first sentence, it's saying that the body is representative of a fence. What is this fence? What is the fence? What is the purpose of a fence? The purpose of a fence is to keep something in and to keep something out. So the body is a fence or a defense. Use that word. That the Son of God imagines he has built. So the body here is implying is that the body is an imagination of the Son of God, that the Son of God has built, or the Son of God has made something. Notice now, the body is not a creation. It's not a creation, but it's something that is made. And it's certainly not a creation of God. Why? It cannot be a creation of God because God can only create like himself. And God is infinite and eternal. There is no death, there is no life, there's no beginning, there's no end in God. So it cannot be based on the universal principle that everything produces after its own kind, that God cannot be responsible for these bodies. Believe it or not, I know that starts off way rough if you're not hearing this information, or if you're hearing this for the first time, that the body is a fence the Son of God imagines he has built to separate parts of his true self from other parts. So here it says that we imagined making this fence or this defense or this idea of separation, or the thought of separation, because that's what it's all here. Everything here we're talking about the way we think, the way we perceive. And this little lesson on the body is going to help shift your perception so that it's going to be good for you and for me and for everyone. It's going to give you understanding. You're going to have many aha moments here as we go through this. And so that's good. So again, the body is something that we made in our imagination as a mechanism to separate us, or to separate us from our real self and from other parts. It is within this fence that we imagined or made that we think we live. In other words, we believe that within this body that this body is our home, our house, or this body is the place in which we live, or life, or this body contains the life that we are. It says that we think, it said, it is within this fence that we think we live to die as it decays and crumbles. Because we all know that everybody eventually decays and crumbles and goes back into the earth or the dust from which it came. But we have this idea that it can separate us from not only each other, because there's space between us, but separate us from God. It says, for within this fence, we think that we are safe from love. What is love? God is love. So within this fence, we think that we are safe from love. We think this body is our place of safety. And this will begin to explain why we put so much emphasis on the body, the care of the body, the protection of the body. How the body feels. Feeding the body what it desires. And so it says, for within this fence, we think that we are safe from love. identifying with our safety, identifying with the safety that we believe that these bodies provide for us. It says, we regard ourselves as what the body is. So in other words, because we believe that the body is a place of safety, eventually we take on the idea that the body is our identification. That's who we are. This physical structure, we think that's our identity. It says, how else could we be certain that we remain within the body, keeping love outside? How else can we remain or continue within the body by keeping love outside? So the body now becomes a safety from love, true love. And it sounds preposterous, but as we go through this, you'll readily see that this is exactly what we have been experiencing. This is the way that we have been thinking by the purposes that we place upon the body, by the false ideas that we lay upon the body, the false identification, by calling the body ourselves. So, the body will not stay. The body will not continue. The body will not last. It's just a temporary. It's a temporary idea. And we all know that. It said the body will not stay or remain. Put it to you that word. Yet, or however, this we see as the double safety, the fact that the body will not stay. We see this as a double safety, that eventually it's going to be over for me, or it's going to be over for us, that idea. Because when you embrace the idea that you are the body and you already know that the body will not stay, then we're also embracing the idea that what? Eventually I will not exist. So it's like a double safety. It's what the Course says here. Stay with me now. For the Son of God's impermanence is proof his fences work. In other words, if we are eternal beings, that means that we are permanent beings. But when we believe that we are associated and or the very thing that these bodies are, which are what? Impermanence, because they're not permanent, they're all temporary. It says, even for these impermanence, this impermanent body or idea is proof that the fences work and do the task that our minds assign to them. For if his oneness still remained untouched, who could attack and who could be attacked? In other words, if our reality is oneness, and it is, and it has still remained untouched, and it has, the real you is not vulnerable. The real you is not alterable or changed or can be changed or altered. We remain as God created us. So here it said, if it remains untouched, who can attack and who can be attacked? That's a rhetorical question. No one. it says, who could be victor? No one. Who could be his prey? No one. Who could be victim? Who could be the murderer? And if he did not die, what proof is there that God's eternal Son has been destroyed? If there's only the one. So this is like a play on the idea by saying if oneness remain one, there is no witness. There's no possibility for a victor, for attack. There's no possibility for a prey or for a murderer, for if he did not die. If the reality is that we are eternal, like God said we are, and that we cannot die, then it says, and the body must what? It said the body will not stay as a witness. Then what is real and what is not? Is our reality the body, or is our reality what God says it is? And God says that we're not a body, we're free. And we remain as God created me or created us. That's what the Course says. Then it says the body is a dream. Oh, wow. Okay, here we go. The body is a dream, or the body was dreamed up. The body is not real. That's what it's saying. It's unreal. Remember, we said that which is real can't be threatened, which is who we are. That which is unreal does not exist. And here it says now the body is a dream. Like other dreams, it sometimes seems to picture happiness. And we all know about that. Sometimes it seems to picture happiness, but can quite suddenly revert to fear. Y'all know what I mean. Where every dream is born. Where is every dream born? Every dream is born in fear. So it was in fear. It was in guilt that we judged ourselves according to this body. That we dream of being these bodies as our true self. We dream of being separate from each other. We dream, we imagine, we build a life around separation. We build a life around the fact that we're separated from our source. That God is at some other level than what we are. That we are, we are left here in a place to be born and to die. This is what the mind has done. Simply from the one belief in separation. This is what the mind has done. Not the mind of Christ, but the mind of the dreamer who dreamed the dream of separation. And all of us have. So the body is a dream. Like other dreams, it sometimes seems to picture happiness, but can quite suddenly revert to fear. Where every dream is born. There is no fear in God. There is no fear in love. In fact, 1 John says what? Perfect love casteth out all fear. Where dreams are born. And so for only love creates in truth. Only love creates. Fear makes. And it was out of fear that this entire world was created. Or this entire world was made. Where did it get its ability to dream such a impossible dream? That is a great question. There's only one source of everything. So it had to be what? It has to be the the backdrop of everything is the awareness and the consciousness that is of God. That is the only life there is. So there was a tap into the infinite that made up this world that we live in, that made up these ideas, this belief in separation, and have built an entire world out of that place of fear, okay, of guilt, sin consciousness, guilt, and fear. It's what built this world. So it couldn't have been from God in the sense that it's not a God idea. This world is not a God idea. As much as it seemed real, it is not. And the fact that everything is what? Decaying. Everything is what? Everything in the ephemeral is passing away. It's an idea. It is witness to the fact that this is not the real thing. All that God creates, it doesn't pass away. Everything that God creates is eternal. That's why your true self is eternal. For love and only love creates in truth. And truth can never fear. It can never fear. There is no fear in truth. There is no fear in love. There is no fear in God. There is no fear in reality. It's only in the mind of a dreamer who dreams of separation. But when the dreamer wakes up, the dreamer in the dream realized that it was only a dream. It wasn't possible. Reality remains intact. Love remains intact. Oneness remains intact. Who we are remains intact. God remains intact. Made to be fearful. Notice now, the body was made to be fearful. This world was made to be fearful. Made to be fearful, must the body serve the purpose given it to be fearful. That's where the idea came from. So the body serves that until there is some type of intervention into the mind that is what? Controlling the body. Made to be fearful, must the body serve the purpose given it to be fearful. The body is a fearful place. Just like this world could be a fearful place. Why? Because that's what it's made for. And that was its purpose, out of fear. It could only be made for fear because it is fear that made it, not God. But, you remember I said, unless an intervention happened, there needs to be what? A correction. Because this is error. All that we've said here is an error. All what we said here is a mistake. All what we said here is a miscreation. But when there's an intervention, when there's an awakening, when there's a rebirth, when there's a transformation, when there is an enlightenment, it says, but we can change the purpose. See, when there's an awakening, we can change the purpose. When there's an enlightenment, we can change the purpose. When there's a rebirth, a new birth, we can change the purpose. When we change the purpose, but when we change the purpose, that the body will obey by changing what we think that it is for. When we wake up to the reality of our oneness with God, everything becomes repurposed. God has the ability, God has the wisdom to take what we made as an error or a mistake and repurpose it for his purpose. You've ever seen someone's life turn completely around on a dime? You wonder what in the world happened to this guy or this girl? What got a hold of them? Well, they got repurposed. The Bible calls it born again. In the spiritual community, they call it enlightenment or the awakening. Or, we call it in the coaching community, we call it transformation. Yeah. And it will happen to everyone. Why? God guarantees it. God guarantees that everyone will eventually wake up. Everyone will eventually have their Damascus Road experience. For you Bible believers, you know what I'm talking about when I say Damascus Road experience. Everyone, every single solitary person that appears to be a person in a body will have their Damascus experience. It may not be in this lifetime, but they're going to have it. God guarantees it. And so if God guarantees it, there's nothing to worry about. People, when the body expires, and, I hear people say all the time, well, I wonder if he, got right with God. I wonder if he, if he's going to heaven. I wonder if he's going, you know what they're saying, right? Well, I'm here to say, all things have already been reconciled back into God, back into the one thing. In other words, all the dreams, everyone from God's perspective have waken up from sleep and waken up from dreaming. And realize that we have never left the place of our reality. It was all a dream. And so, when we change the purpose that the body will obey by changing what we think that it is for. And there's a section over in workbook lesson 135. We already covered this. But in workbook lesson 135 on page 253 in paragraph 7, this will help us. It says the body is in need of no defense. This cannot be too often emphasized. So the body needs no defense. This cannot be too often overemphasized. It will be strong and healthy if the mind does not abuse it by assigning it to roles it cannot fill and purposes beyond its scopes, and to exalted aims which it cannot accomplish. And that's what we did when we made up this body. We assign roles that it cannot fill. And the main role we try to assign to our bodies is our identification. Why? Because it cannot fill that. How can something that temporary fill the role of something that is permanent? It's impossible. That's why I said earlier, talked about the impermanence. The impermanence of the body. See, we are permanence. We are eternal. We are infinite. And so it's impossible for us to identify ourselves as a body. That we will be misaligned. We will be out of order. It's an insane idea, and that's why we see why so many things happen within the body, because we're trying to assign roles to it that it cannot fulfill. We make demands upon it that it is what? We make demands upon it and give it purposes with outside of its scope. It can't handle it. The finite can't handle the infinite. The temporary, it can't handle the permanent. The impermanence cannot handle the permanent. It cannot handle it. It was not made for it. But when God repurposed it, it is something that it can handle. It is something that it can now be of beauty and of use for the purposes of God. And that happens when the mind is what? Renewed, and the mind is transformed. It says, don't assign, so here what it's saying, do not assign roles to our bodies that it can't fill. You are not your body. Quit. So we should stop saying that we are, that it is. This is not me. You are the I am of God. You are of the God kind. You transcend a body. You transcend bones and marrow and sinew and organs, which are temporary, which are impermanent. So we need a revelation. We need elevated information, which is what we're doing here. We call it advanced spirituality. So that we can have our awareness in alignment with the truth. We can have our consciousness in harmony with the truth. So we can see with the eyes of God and the mind of Christ and think with the mind of Christ. And so we don't assign it roles. We don't give it purposes beyond its scope. And we don't exalt it with aims that what? That it cannot accomplish. Such attempts to do this, ridiculous yet deeply cherished. They're ridiculous, but they're deeply cherished. If you don't believe me, just look around you and see the things we do to the body, how we worship the body. Everything in life is about what? The preservation of the body. The body has become what? It has become the Course says it has become the hero of the dream. We see the body as our way out. We see our separation as our way out. We see our individuality as our way out. We see it as our protective shield. And so we guard it with everything we have. We worship it with everything we have. It says, such attempts, ridiculous yet deeply cherished, are the sources for the many mad attacks we make upon the body. Why do you see humanity all the way through history and even today continue to attack one another? Why? It says it right here, because the body was made out of fear. And the body was given roles it cannot handle, purposes that is beyond its scope, and aims. Exalted aims, which it cannot accomplish. We have made something and have made demands on it that it cannot hold. But when there is an intervention, when there is a shift in perception, when there is an understanding, it says, something can happen. It says, for it seems to fail you. It seems to fail your hopes, your needs, your values, and your dreams. The body does. It cannot perform. It cannot do what you want it to do. First of all, because what? It's not designed to. And when it's not designed to, this very mind that made it will attack it with sickness and disease and pain and suffering. And it will attack other bodies because it doesn't see oneness. It only sees what? Separation. And so it sees everything as a threat. It sees itself always under attack. So it has to what? Defend itself. And so it builds defenses. And now you understand what's happening in the world. That's what's happening in humanity. In its drunken state, where we see that humanity still has an idea of kill or be killed. Because it's in a place of fear. Because its perception needs correction, needs transforming. And it says, now, the self that needs protection is not real. The body knows it needs protection. He said, the self that needs protection is not real. The body self. It says, the body, valueless and hardly worth the least defense, needs merely be perceived as quite apart from you. This is the first thing that needs to happen. That the body needs to be perceived apart from me. In other words, I am not the body. I'm aware of the body, but I am not that. Like, I got 2 cars downstairs in my garage. I am not my cars, but I perceive of 2 cars, but I'm not that. So it's my consciousness and awareness that makes that assessment valid. You would thought I would be insane if I say I'm my car. And so what it's saying here is that same insanity has been on display when we say that we are a body. No, it says here we need to see ourselves apart from our body because we are. It says the self that needs protection is not real. The body, valueless and hardly worth the least defense, need merely to be perceived as quite apart from you. And it becomes, when we see the body quite apart from us, it says the body will become a healthy and serviceable instrument. Just like your car. Your car is a healthy, serviceable instrument. It has to be serviced. It's an instrument. It's a tool. The car is a tool. Your body is a tool. It's a healthy, serviceable tool, meaning that it can be serviced with the right mind, with the right thoughts, with the right idea. And it says it's a serviceable, it becomes a healthy serviceable tool because of the way now you're perceiving it. See, when you change the way you look at things, when you change the way you look at things, the thing you look at change. When you change the way you look at your body, look at the body and understand what it's for, the body change. The body now becomes a healthy, serviceable instrument to serve you. See, the body, when it is repurposed for God's purpose, becomes a serviceable instrument. It becomes an instrument. It becomes a communication device where we communicate our true essential essence, our true essential self, our God self. We changed the purpose. And now it's really useful. It says it becomes a healthy, serviceable instrument through which the mind can operate until its usefulness is over. So the mind will operate through the body until the body's usefulness is over. And then we lay it down. And during that time, the body will be a good service or a good servant to you. But when we try to take the body and give it our very nature, to give it our very identification and put demands on it, it cannot handle it. And it breaks down. It gets sick. It falls apart. You see what we have done or what we are doing with the body? But when we have a shift in our perception to understand how God now takes what we made to be, that was made to be a substitute for our reality, put it in its right place, and now say, hey, I can use the body as a communication device, as a healthy, serviceable communication device by which the mind now can express its reality, its oneness, its love, its joy, its peace. No longer the body now being a device to keep love out, but the body now becomes an expression of love by the way we use it. It becomes an expression of love. That which seemed so frail and vulnerable and weakly and sickly becomes a strong, healthy, serviceable instrument by which the glory of God is now revealed through the body. And what is that which is real can be now perceived working through these earthly vessels. Paul said it this way: we have this treasure. We have this treasure in earthly vessels. What treasure? The reality being expressed in and through the earthly vessels. You've seen people, even I had to experience myself. Well, in the twinkling of an eye, when I got a revelation of who I was, when I opened up my heart and let love come in and flood my heart, I was this way in one moment, and in the very next moment, I was another way. Something got a hold of me. Oh, yes, that's the way it happens. And something has got a hold of you. Something has got a hold of all of us, and that something is our reality, our true identity, the remembrance of God. And when we allow that intervention to take place, we should be the happiest people in the world. We should be the light of the world. That's what Jesus meant. You should be the happiest person in the world. Why? Because your inner game, your inner awareness has been lit. Your candle has been lit. Your awareness has come alive. You now see with the eyes of God. And so the body now becomes this healthy, serviceable instrument that will serve you well, through which the mind can operate until its usefulness is over. Who would want to keep it when its usefulness is done? That's why it get laid down. And then you don't see any movement in it anymore. Why? Because what? Its work is over. Its work is over. Its usefulness is done. And so when we understand this, there's no need to cry. There's only a need to rejoice. There's only a need to rejoice. Knowing that one has been one has finished their work. One has been freed from the seeming limitations. Of a temporary instrument. I like the course's description of the course said it's a temporary instrument. Let's see what the Bible says. The Bible says in Romans 12:1, it says, I beseech thee, I urge thee, by all of the mercies of God, that you present or represent, is really what it should mean. It says that you represent your bodies. See, once you wake up to the truth of who you are, that which the body represents, it doesn't represent it anymore. So there needs to be a representation of the body. You know, in the world we call it, boy, that's a miracle. What happened to them? An absolute miracle. And they're looking at the body. But the miracle was not in the body. The miracle took place in the mind, where there was a shift in perception, where there was a revelation, where there was a recognition. There was an awakening. There wasn't a change, but there was a recognition that took place where in the mind, when we repurposed, and where we first of all let go of the false self, the false identity, the false belief in separation. We let go of the big lie that we have become something that God did not create. And when we let that go, the only thing that remains is the truth. The only thing that remains is our true identity. And when that takes place in the mind, the body automatically gets repurposed. It gets repurposed. It becomes a useful instrument, healthy, vibrant, that same body. And in the natural, we call it a miracle. The miracle is not the body. That's just the effect of what happened in the mind. And so it says, I beseech ye, therefore, brethren, by the mercies of God, that you present or represent your bodies. How? Living for a purpose, living for God's purpose. So God, in his wisdom, has taken that which we have made in our dream of separation and have made it now a useful instrument by which the glory of God can be manifested, can be communicated through this earthen vessel. Isn't that amazing? God takes everything that we made, every mistake, every error, every misinterpretation, every miscreation. God takes it all and makes a tiny shift. And now it becomes a useful, serviceable instrument in the kingdom. In reality, nothing is lost. Nothing is lost. God even take our dreams of separation and make them meaningful. Oh, the wisdom. Oh, the splendor. Oh, the depth of the wisdom of God. So he says, represent your bodies as living. He says, present your body as holy, because they are. Present your bodies as acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. It's the most reasonable thing for one to do once his life has been repurposed for the purposes of God. Our bodies, our entire life becomes what? An altar unto the reality of the truth that is true always. That's why Jesus said, you become the light of the world. You become the light of the world. And now this body will do what it needs to do to fulfill your purpose. Not just not to fulfill your pleasure, but to fulfill your purpose. And in your purpose is pleasure. You remember, he says, in thy presence, there's fullness of joy. And what? And pleasures forevermore. Which includes your body experience. Doesn't happen sometime in the future. It happens in the moment, in the twinkling of the eye, in that holy instant, when you but recognize who you are. And so let's finish this lesson. It says the body is the means by which God, Son, or God's creation. It's the means by which we return, it says, to sanity. God uses the body to return us to sanity. When we made the body, it ran us into insanity and used it for our own purpose. But when we got the mind of Christ and the body was repurposed for the purpose of God, and we began to see that that our body is a holy temple unto God, that our body is acceptable. Then it says we return to sanity. Though it was made to fence us into hell, because that's what it's like when we think that we are a body. It's like a living hell. And you know what I mean. With our own purposes, with a lack of understanding, not knowing what it was for. When you don't know the purpose of a thing, you can't do but abuse it. But when you realize the purpose for your body, for the body, it's not your body, it's the body. Because you have no need of a body. You require it to be here, but you have no need for it. That's a difference. Though it was made to fence you unto hell without escape, yet has the goal of heaven, or has the goal of God, or has the goal of reality, or has the goal of love been exchanged for the pursuit of hell? When we are using the body, it is a living hell. When we are using it for a purposes that it was not, that it cannot fulfill. It's a living hell. And now you see what you see out, and you see what has happened through history. Now you understand why. You understand why. Without the mind of Christ, we are lost. Without the knowledge of God, we are insane. And even here in 2022, you still see the insanity in high places, in every place, trying to make what Their mind is saying the truth to make it as a substitute to the purpose of God. And it is causing all kind of chaos, all kind of destruction. All kind of unprecedented events. So now that we understand what the body is, what the body is for, we extend our hand to reach humanity. To reach humanity. We extend our hand to reach humanity. And to help him walk along the road with us. Now is the body holy? Now it serves to heal the mind that it was made to kill. The body in and of itself was made to kill. It would drive you insane when it's not being used properly and for the purposes of God. It would drive you insane because it cannot fulfill the purposes that we give it because it's not designed to. Now it serves to heal the mind. The body that was made to destroy it is now made to heal it. We will identify with what we think we made, what we think will make us safe. Think about that. We identify with what we think will make us safe. If we think a person will make us safe, we identify with them. If we think a thing will make us safe, we identify with it. If we think an idea will make us safe, we identify with it. That's just the way we made up. What we think will make us safe, we'll identify with it. It says, whatever it may be, we will believe that it is one with us. We will even make it our identification. It says, our safety lies in truth and truth alone. Our safety lies in truth and truth alone. It's not in armaments. It is not in an idea of separation. Our safety is not in a particular place or particular country or particular neighborhood or a particular family or with a particular race or with a particular party. That's not where our safety lies. Neither does your peace lie there. Neither does your happiness lie there. It's not in a fraternal order. It's not in none of these things that we seek for to find safety. There's no place to hide. But the good news is, love is your safety. There you go again, Oliver, with that love talk. Here I go again with the truth that is true always. It is in love that you are safe. What does it mean to be in love? To be in love means to be in God. And to be in God means that you are in yourself, because you and your God share the same self, the same love, the same being, the same reality. That is where your safety lies. That is where you are to abide. That is the secret place. That is the heart of God where you have never left. When you wake up from the dream of separation, to see the dream of this impersonal, of this personal self, this finite self, unaware of the oneness that you are, when you wake up from that, you realize that this journey that you're on is without a distance, that you have remained as God created you, that you remain in the heart of God where he will have you be, or she or it will have you to abide. It's the only place you can abide. It's the only place of safety. It's the only place of joy and peace and happiness and fulfillment and contentment. The only place. Our only solution. The only reality. God is your reality. God is my reality. God is all humanity's reality. And so our safety lies in the truth and not in lies. Love is our safety. Fear does not exist. Fear does not exist. Why? Because only love exists. And it says perfect love casteth out fear. When we allow love to perfect us. And love perfects us. As we behold love's beauty, love perfects us as we invite and as we embrace and as we make our very own. That which is true and true always. That I and me and you and God and you and us, we're one. That's love. That's what casteth out fear. There is no separation. There is no division. There is no inequality in reality. Therein lies our safety. Therein lies our transformation. Therein lies our healing. And so what is the body? It says, fear does not exist. Identify with love. And you are saved. Allow love to be your identity, and you are saved. Identify with love, and you are home. And your home is holy. You are the holy home of God. We've been saying it over and over again. This is what we mean. Let your identification be the identification that God is, and therefore I am. That's what Jesus meant. When you see me, you have seen the Father. He wasn't talking about his body. But he was communicating through his body to other bodies that believed that they were separate, that believed that they were sinners, that believed that they had fallen from grace. And it was all a dream that they were having. And so he would, in his lifetime, he walked with his brothers. And he taught his brothers. And he shared with his brothers the truth that is true always. And that's what Truly Foundation here is all about. This is what we're all about. And this is how we do it. It's a unique expression. Yeah. There are many course teachers, but this is a unique expression. Their expressions are unique. That way, God makes sure that everyone is covered. He even allows you to pick your own flavor. You don't get to not choose to take this life course, but you get to choose when and what flavor. Identify with love and find yourself. And find yourself. Why? How is that possible? You are love. I'm going to put it up on the screen again. I don't know why I don't have my ticker up here, but I'm getting ready to put it up now. Because I want to remind you. You see that? Truly the real you loves you, because the real you is love. The real you is love. So, what is the body? Now you know. Now you know. And now we choose to use the bodies for the purposes of God. And so the body become a healthy, serviceable instrument, a communication device by which we're able to express the reality of who we are, which is love. Your body truly becomes a love machine. Truly becomes a love machine. Well, that is the preference to the next 10 lesson. What is a body? Oh my God, that was so good. Thank you so much for being with us for this edition of Truly Foundation in A Course in Miracles. This is Oliver Blue saying, come and join us for the next workbook lesson, which will be 261. Coming your way. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye. Bye, bye, bye.